Is there more to midlife than just getting through it? Absolutely. Welcome. I'm your host, Debbie Cunningham, jazz artist turned midlife mentor, and I'm here to say to you loud and clear, it's time for your midlife crescendo. Well, hey friends, welcome back. I hope you are having a great day wherever you are listening to this. It's the last week of April. Can you believe it? Mother's Day is sneaking up on us. College and high school graduations are just around the corner, and I know that can mean lots of anxiety for you mamas out there. I remember feeling all those happy yet teary emotions with all the lasts of my kids before they graduated. What I tried to focus on then was the fact that closing of a chapter for them was also a springboard to something new and exciting. Funny, it's the same for us. And today's topic weaves into that quite well, because when one season or dream ends, there's a new opportunity for possibility in our lives, just like it is for our kids. Today, we're talking about what happens when our dreams take a detour, even and maybe most especially when it's unexpected. So let's dive in. You know, many of us expect our dreams to unfold in a straight line, but they rarely do. If you talk to any entrepreneur, they will tell you that their path has been like a zigzag or an up and down mountainous terrain. They thought they had a dream and a goal, and when they started out, they assumed they'd be able to just move through life one step after another and get to that goal. But often it's one disappointment after another, actually. I remember when I was reading Ina Garten's biography, and she talked about when she had to close her restaurant. She chose to close her restaurant at age 50 and basically semi-retire, but she wasn't really sure what in the world she was going to do after that. And it was interesting because most of us know her as a chef on TV, and she's written tons of cookbooks, but she never even thought about writing a cookbook until after she closed her store and her restaurant. And I think sometimes we forget that when we have these goals and dreams in our lives, that there's so many paths to get there. And sometimes some of these detours are actually important to teach us different things in our lives. They build character and strength and help us get where we need to go. You know, I wrote a song years ago called Fly, and it's all about believing in your dreams. And the reason I wrote it for my kids, basically to encourage them to keep pushing forward to pursue the things that they loved, and eventually they would fly. But in the song, in the bridge, it talks about, and when you fall, just pick yourself back up. There's no shame in trying different things, because through it all, you'll find the path that works. And that's the one that will grow your wings. And I really, really believe that lyric. I believe that as we are working toward our goals, that we have this winding, zigzagging path, and eventually all the things we go through to get there strengthen us for the next step. Midlife often brings unexpected opportunities that feel like detours, but they're actually expansions and new opportunities. So in January, I did something I never expected. I became a travel agent. Most of you know me as a jazz recording artist, or then an author and a speaker, or a podcaster. Obviously, you're listening, so you know me as a podcaster. And it's all been this journey of as I've been wanting to encourage people through music, through my book, and then through the podcast, that I've landed on each step of this journey. And then in January, I love to travel, and so I've always wanted to travel with other people. My long goal is to travel with other people. And so I thought, now's a perfect time for me. My kids are grown. I have grandchildren now. I have more freedom in my schedule. I really want to learn a new thing. So I became a travel agent. It's a great side job for me, and I enjoy it because I love planning trips for people. But for some of my music fans, this has looked like a really sharp left turn. But it's actually deeply connected to my mission in life, which is encouraging people, creating meaningful experiences, and helping women and couples connect just in a new way. Because I've always, even with my music, wanted to create a meaningful experience. And now I get to do that through travel and creating meaningful trips for my clients, which I've been able to do since January, and I'm loving it. And it's wonderful. And I meet new couples and new people all the time, and I get to share in their excitement of going to Italy or Germany or France or Spain. I have so many couples right now that are going on trips this summer, and it's been so fun to be able to help curate those things for someone else. But being a beginner again is humbling. It's hard to be a beginner, especially in midlife. But it's also freeing because growth doesn't stop at 40, 50, or beyond. Growth enriches our life. And new beginnings keep life vibrant and meaningful. Think about May. May is a time where kids graduate from high school, or May and June. Down in the South, it's May. In the North, it's June. Kids graduate from high school. In May, young people graduate from college and they start to figure out what jobs they're going to have and where they're going to live and how they're going to provide for themselves. It's scary and it's a humble new beginning, and yet it's exciting and filled with possibility. But sometimes when we have an unexpected detour, like when things don't turn out the way we had hoped, it's hard. And sometimes we might even feel like God is punishing us. If we are believers in God, we may feel like we did something wrong. And that's why the thing we really wanted to do didn't work out. But sometimes God redirects us not to punish us, but to prepare us for where He's taking us next. A detour now might be how He gets us to a bigger dream we didn't even know we needed. So where might you be being invited to be a beginner again? Is there a detour in your life that might actually be an open door? Do you feel like there's some things churning in your heart and in your mind that you want to try, you've wanted to step into? Now, if you have a child graduating, I know your entire world right now is all about graduation, spending time with your kids this summer as much as you can before they fly the nest. And I encourage you to do that. But I also encourage you to take some time, quiet moments in the day or the morning while they're still sleeping or while they're working their summer job. And I want you to think about yourself and where maybe you are thinking about where you want to go after they leave. Waiting until they're gone is a difficult time to think about what your goals are. Because I will tell you, when they leave, it hits you in the face that all of a sudden you have more time on your hands, more freedom on your hands than you did before. And it gives you more time to be anxious for your children as well. And so it's really good to start thinking about what those things are that you may want to do in the future for yourself. Now, maybe you're a few years past empty nest. You've already been in empty nest. Maybe you started your own business, and maybe because of COVID or some of the things that have gone on through the last few years, you've had to close your shop or close your Etsy business, or you lost your job because of all the downsizing with COVID. And maybe you're still left in this place of not flourishing and you're trying to figure out what your next steps are. I get it because I've been there. I was on a book tour in 2020 when COVID hit. I was promoting my new book, Dancing in the Kitchen, and singing. And all of a sudden, all of that went away. And so I remember we didn't have the impact with the book promotion that we had hoped. Lots of authors went through that. Lots of musicians went through all of a sudden their income being taken away. That happens to a lot of people. And I know that there have been a lot of downsizes in companies lately. A lot of people I know have lost their job. And I'm here to tell you, though, that even though it's a hard season to be in when you lose a job or when you've been trying to get a job for over a year, I know a lot of friends who lost their job and then couldn't get one for at least a year. This is the kind of terrain we're talking about, which is difficult and unexpected detours in your life. But it's also a great opportunity to lean in and start really thinking about, what do you want for your life? I know you need a paycheck. I know many of you need a paycheck. But what do you really want for this season of your life? If you're listening to this, you are obviously a midlifer or beyond, 40, 50, 60, maybe you're 70. I have a few of those listening. What is it that you want for this next season of your life? If you're going to live another 10, 20, 30, 40 years, if you're 40, you can kind of expect that maybe you'll live another 20 to 40 years. What do you want to do with that time? Have you thought about it? You need to think about it. You can't wait till you get there, because then there's no bridge that's been being built along the way in preparation for your journey. But listen, maybe you had an unexpected detour because of a relationship and someone passed away. Maybe you're a widow now. Maybe there was a divorce, or maybe just things didn't end up the way you thought they were going to end up. And now you're wondering what to do. Again, this is an unexpected detour where you can lean into, what do you want to do? Not what does everyone else want you to do? Because as women, we're really good at that. And we easily fall into it and think we have to please everyone else. But I want you to dig deep and really reach inside and think about, what is it that resonates with you? What is it that you want to do? If you've listened to Midlife Crescendo at all, you've heard a lot of different women come on the show and share some pivots in their midlife season. We've had authors, we've had speakers, we've had people who do fashion for a living, stylists, and different people who had these moments in their life where basically the bottom dropped out, but another door opened. Not initially, but as they leaned in, prayed about it, listened to God, and really moved, tried to baby step themselves forward, a new door opened. Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said that something one of our guests said on the podcast resonated with her, and she thought, that's it. That's what I want to do. And now she has stepped into her own business doing that. I'm so proud of her for that. And I think that all of us can really begin to listen to our hearts to see what it is that we've been created to do. Look at our giftings and our talents and our desires. What's that thing that keeps coming up that you really want to give yourself a chance to do? Pay attention to that, because that's usually something that's wired in you that you can move forward with in a goal or a dream, even a side hustle like me in travel. I love building trips for people, and it's a great side hustle, and I can make good money doing that and doing all the other things that I love to do. But listen, sometimes you might feel like you're too old or too late or too far behind, but you're not. There's some version of the thing you want to do that you can still do. I promise you that. Is there an area where you could start to give yourself permission to start messy, start small, but maybe just start? Can you sit down and take a piece of paper or a blank page in your journal and just start to write down some of the things that you really think you'd like to do, or things that were always hopes and dreams that maybe didn't turn out the way you had hoped, or maybe you had to put them on a long pause to raise kids or take care of a loved one who is ill, or the list is endless. For whatever reason that you paused, Can you start to write down some of those things and say, if time and money were not a problem, what would I do now? What is possible for me now? Write those things down in your journal and just start to mull them over, think about them, and pray about them. You're going to be able to find a path if you start to give yourself permission to just start. Well, hey friend, if today's episode spoke to you, if you're standing at the edge of something new and feeling a little unsure or excited but scared, I would love to support you personally. This month, I'm offering a few free 20-minute coaching calls, mini coaching calls, just for my midlife crescendo listeners. We can talk about where you feel called to begin again, maybe pray together, or just brainstorm your next small courageous step. Spots are limited, so if you would like to grab one, head to debbiecunningham.net/coaching. That's debbiecunningham.net/coaching. Fill out the form there and let's connect. I would absolutely love to cheer you on as you step into this next chapter of your life. You don't have to figure it out alone. Sometimes all we need is a little encouragement to get us moving again. I'll see you next week, and remember, you're never too old and it's never too late to live in crescendo. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember, midlife is just a brand new season to find your passion and purpose for your grand finale. Talk next week.